I paid $2,500 a month for my sister's rent, and she called me a jerk and cut me off. I stopped paying, and what happened next will shock her forever. The crisp New York air wasn't enough to cool the fire burning in my chest. My sister, the one who called me crying every month, begging me to pay her rent because she couldn't even afford food, was living the high life. I clenched my jaw. This time she was going to pay. The cold night air of New York had a sharp edge that cut to the bone. I crossed Fifth Avenue with quick strides, my heart pounding. I couldn't shake the unease that had haunted me all day, that nagging voice whispering that something was wrong. For the past 3 years, I had been religiously paying my younger sister Emily's rent, $2,500 a month, a sum I managed to cover with effort, convincing myself I did it for family, for responsibility, for love. I have no money for food, Alex. I can barely pay the electric bill. If I move, I'll be in danger. You're my only support. Her pleas echoed in my mind as I climbed the stairs of her elegant building. I stopped in front of the door, took a deep breath, and rang the doorbell. Silence. I frowned. Tried again. Nothing. A strange sense of dread settled in my stomach. I pulled out my own set of keys, another favor Emily had asked for when she moved in, and unlocked the door. What I saw froze me in place. 2 blonde men, probably tourists, were comfortably seated in my living room. In my damn living room. There were wine glasses on the table, a New York City guidebook open, and backpacks on the floor. One of them smiled at me. "Ah, you must be the owner," he said in English with a thick German accent. "Thank you for letting us stay here. It's a fantastic place." The world seemed to tilt beneath my feet. "Excuse me?" I managed to say, feeling my pulse hammering in my temples. "We booked this Airbnb a week ago. My wife and I love it." Airbnb. The air became dense, suffocating. The words floated around me, but they didn't sink in. With trembling fingers, I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. Sweat dampened my palm as I opened the Airbnb app and typed in the address. What appeared on the screen made my throat tighten. Luxury apartment in the heart of New York City, $400 per night. "No," I whispered, but my eyes kept scanning the screen. I scrolled through the listing, seeing every photo, every corner of the apartment. It was my place. The marble table I had personally helped pick out. The designer lamp Emily had insisted on buying. My bed, my sofa, everything. But the worst part was reading the description. A luxurious oasis in New York's most exclusive neighborhood. 24/7 customer service. Perfect for travelers seeking comfort and exclusivity. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. My hands trembled. My fingers gripped the phone so tightly that, for a second, I had the irrational urge to smash it against the wall. Emily had scammed me. She hadn't just lied. She had used me. She had taken advantage of my trust, my love as a brother. She had been draining me of $2,500 a month while making nearly double that renting it out to tourists. "Everything okay?" the tourist asked, noticing my expression. But I didn't answer. My thoughts were colliding, dark and furious. How long has she been deceiving me? How the hell am I going to make her pay for this? How much money has she made behind my back? I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to contain the wave of rage rising in my chest. My fists clenched so tightly that my nails dug into my skin. Emily had no idea that her game was over. I left the apartment without saying a word. That night, New York City shone as brightly as ever. But to me, the city had never looked so filthy. The lights of New York blurred through the windshield as I drove aimlessly. Couldn't go home. Not yet. The fury inside me was a wild animal clawing at my chest, demanding an escape. I pressed the accelerator. I needed to think. Emily had scammed me. This wasn't just about money. It was about betrayal, manipulation, blatant mockery. How long had she been doing this? Since the beginning? Had she been lying the entire time about being broke? I gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. Don't act impulsively. I knew that. I couldn't just call her and scream. I had to destroy her with intelligence, with precision. I pulled into a 24-hour cafe and took out my phone. The screen still showed the Airbnb listing. I took a deep breath, my fingers icy, and did the first thing that came to mind. I opened Instagram. Emily_Morgan_LuxLife. The first few photos made my stomach turn. Emily on the terrace of the Four Seasons Hotel, New York downtown, holding a glass of champagne, with the Manhattan skyline glowing behind her. Emily at Per Se, posing with an extravagant 3 Michelin star dish. Emily at the pool of the Plaza Hotel, in a bikini, holding a cocktail with the caption, "Work hard, enjoy harder." The irony almost made me laugh. Work hard. I kept scrolling. There were dozens of pictures like these. Emily in designer clothes, Emily with luxury luggage at the airport, Emily dining at the most exclusive spots in New York City. Every single post was a slap in the face. How many of these luxuries did she steal from me? Bile rose in my throat. But the worst came when I opened her story highlights and saw a folder titled, "My Sweet Home." I clicked. The first video showed the apartment I paid for. But it wasn't a home. It was a luxury showroom for tourists. Emily recorded the living room, the kitchen, the view from the balcony. "I worked so hard to get this place, but it was worth it," her voiceover said sweetly. The next video showed a foreign couple smiling at the camera. "Welcome to New York, guys. Hope you enjoy your stay in my apartment." The phone almost slipped from my hands. "Oh my God, Emily," I muttered, feeling my blood boil. I shut my eyes and took a deep breath. This wasn't just a lie anymore. This was a direct insult, a spit in the face. "Alexander, where are you?" 3 dots appeared on the screen. Then, a message. "Emily, at home." Why? I bit my tongue. At home. A lie. I checked the time. 12:23 a.m. I reopened the Airbnb app. My apartment's listing was still up. Status: booked until Saturday. Emily wasn't home. Where the hell is she? Clenching my jaw, I scrolled through her stories until I found what I was looking for. Location: the Plaza Hotel. 2 hours ago, she had posted a story from the hotel's bar, holding a cocktail with the caption, "A toast to the life I deserve." I let out a dry laugh. The life you deserve. We'll see about that. I started the car and pulled away. Emily had no idea what was coming. The engine roared through the silent New York night as I drove toward the Plaza Hotel. My hands were still tight on the wheel, my jaw clenched to the point of pain. My mind wasn't clear. Just one image kept flashing. Emily, raising her glass, toasting to the life she deserved, while I paid her damn rent. No, not anymore. I swerved sharply into Columbus Circle and parked right in front of the Grand Hotel. Stepping out of the car with quick strides, I felt the fury pulsing in my chest with every heartbeat. She had no idea I had found her out. The lobby of the Plaza Hotel was a spectacle of marble and crystal chandeliers. But I couldn't care less. My eyes scanned the room until they landed on her. Emily was at the bar, relaxed, smiling, comfortably settled on a velvet couch with a glass of Dom Perignon in hand. She wasn't alone. Across from her, a suited man was laughing, leaning toward her in a clearly flirtatious manner. He looked like one of those executives who played at being rich with borrowed money. And Emily, in her tight red dress and crimson lipstick, was the perfect image of a high-maintenance woman who lived off other people's cash. A shiver of fury ran up my spine. No more games. I approached with firm steps, ignoring the soft background music and the bartender's curious glance as I passed the bar. Emily kept laughing, swirling her glass elegantly, until she saw me. The color drained from her face. What are you doing here?" she stammered, setting her glass down on the table. The man beside her glanced at me with curiosity, but I didn't even spare him a look. "Stand up." My voice was low, tense. "Alex, this isn't the time. Stand. Now." Emily blinked, pretending confusion. "Please don't make a scene." "A scene?" I let out a dry laugh and tossed my phone onto the table. The screen still displayed the Airbnb listing, her listing for my apartment. Emily stared at it, and her expression shifted. Panic. "This isn't. Don't take me for a fool." I cut her off, leaning over the table. 3 years. 3 damn years I've been paying your rent while you made money behind my back. 3 years, Emily. The man beside her shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "I think I should leave." "Yes, you should." I snapped, not breaking eye contact with my sister. The guy stood up quickly and walked away without looking back. Emily swallowed hard. Listen, I can explain. I don't want your explanations. I want to know how much money you stole from me. I didn't steal anything, she whispered, glancing around nervously, as if afraid someone might hear. I clenched my fists. Oh, really? Then tell me, where do you sleep when your apartment is booked? Emily looked away. In 5-star hotels, right? With my money. I watched her lick her lips, desperately searching for a believable lie. But there wasn't one. Not this time. How much? I repeated, planting my hands firmly on the table. I want the exact number. Emily clicked her tongue. Why does it even matter? Why are you so upset? It's not like you don't have money. Silence. A silence so thick that the only sound was the soft melody of the pianist in the background. I felt heat rising in my chest. There it was. That arrogant attitude. That cheap justification. Emily had never felt guilty. Not once. I leaned in closer, my voice a sharp whisper. Tell me something, Emily. If it didn't matter, why lie? Why pretend you couldn't even pay the electric bill while living like a damn queen? She looked away. Because I knew that if I told you, you'd stop paying for me. I felt a bitter laugh rise in my throat. Unbelievable. You say it like it's nothing. Emily lifted her chin defiantly. Look, Alex, I didn't do anything illegal. You were just naive enough never to ask. Boom. The final blow. A confession disguised as mockery. I stared at her for a long second. Then I let out a dry chuckle. You know what, you're right. Emily blinked, caught off guard. What? You're right. I was a fool. But do you know what's the best thing about realizing something like that? I straightened up, grabbed my phone from the table, and slid it into my pocket. That now I can fix it. I turned and walked out of the hotel without looking back. Emily remained seated, pale, her mouth slightly open. She didn't know it yet, but her life of luxury had just died. The echo of my own footsteps on the marble floor was the only sound I heard as I exited the Plaza Hotel. My heart was pounding, but my mind had never been clearer. There was no turning back. I got into my car and slammed the door shut. Taking a deep breath, I tried to calm the fury still burning inside me. But I wasn't going to explode. Not this time. I was going to destroy her calmly. With precision. I pulled out my phone and dialed my bank. Good evening. I want to cancel an automatic transfer. Of course, sir. What's the amount? $2,500 per month, I replied coldly. The rent payment for my sister. The operator typed something, followed by a brief silence. Understood, Mr. Morgan. The transfer has been cancelled. Done. The game was over. Now Emily was going to fall. The next morning, I woke up to my phone vibrating on the nightstand. Emily. 10 missed calls. I rolled my eyes and let it keep ringing. A message popped up seconds later. Emily. Alex, we need to talk. It's urgent. I smirked in disdain. Alexander. Urgent? Like paying rent without my money. The 3 dots appeared immediately, showing she was typing. Emily. Don't be childish. Let's just talk. Alexander. You have nothing left to say to me. Emily. Alex. Damn it. What did you do? The landlord just called me. He says the payment never arrived. Did you cancel it? Alexander. Yes. Emily. You can't do this to me. Alexander. I just did. Silence. Then another call. Ignored. I got up calmly and went to make myself a coffee, enjoying the silence. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the weight of anyone else's problems on my shoulders. Until my phone rang again. This time it was an unknown number. Yes? Mr. Morgan? The male voice was sharp. This is James Murphy, the landlord of the apartment on 5th Avenue. I was silent for a second. How can I help you? I need to speak with you about your sister. I just found out what she's been doing with my property. I calmly set my coffee cup down on the table. I'm listening. A neighbor alerted me last night. I checked on Airbnb and sure enough, Emily has been renting the apartment to tourists. Without my permission. I'm not surprised, I said with a side smile. What do you plan to do about it? Evict her. A wave of satisfaction washed over me. Good decision. The lease is under her name, right? Asked the landlord. I need you to come sign the cancellation of the lease. Tell me when, and I'll be there. Today at 4. See you then. I hung up, and for the first time in years I felt free. 4 p.m. I arrived at the landlord's office and signed the paperwork with an almost therapeutic calm. That was the final nail in the coffin of Emily's luxurious life. When I left the building, my phone exploded with calls again. Emily. I ignored the first 3, then the 4th. But on the 5th I decided to answer. What's up, sis? I've been evicted from the apartment. She yelled on the other end of the line. The landlord says you canceled the lease. How could you do this to me? I let out a low chuckle. Me? No, Emily. You did this to yourself. She gasped, unable to believe what she was hearing. You have nowhere to go. Do you? I said mockingly. Alex, please. I don't have a home. I don't have money. I don't have anything. Welcome to reality, Emily. Silence. Then a muffled sob. Alex, I can't live on the street. Not my problem. But I'm your sister. I thought you were my sister, but you only saw me as an ATM. Silence again. But this time she knew she had lost. Tell me, Emily. I added in an icy tone. What luxury hotel will you be staying in tonight? She didn't answer. I thought you worked hard for the life you deserve. Don't you? She sobbed again. Don't call me again. And I hung up. Then I blocked her number. Standing on the sidewalk, I enjoyed the cool evening air. For the first time in years, I didn't have to carry anyone else's burdens. Emily would finally learn what it meant to earn a living on her own. But not with my money. The sound of the rain hitting the windows of my apartment in Los Angeles filled the silence of the night. I sat on my small balcony with a half-finished glass of wine, watching the city lights reflect on the wet pavement. A year had passed. A year since I blocked Emily's number. A year since I left behind New York, Fifth Avenue, and the weight of being her damn personal bank. My life had improved. That was a fact. I no longer had to calculate if I could afford a small indulgence without my bank account suffering. There were no more pleas from Emily, no more desperate calls, no more lies disguised as need. And yet, something inside me still wasn't at peace. That something took shape when, just an hour ago, I received an unexpected message. Unknown number. Alex. Please, I need to talk to you. It's important. I stared at the screen for several long minutes, feeling a pressure in my chest I hadn't felt in months. I knew it was her, but I didn't reply, couldn't. Still, the message remained there, glowing on the screen, refusing to be ignored. Did I really want to ignore it? 3 hours ago. The night in Los Angeles had been calm until an unknown number appeared on my phone screen. Instinct kicked in. I knew immediately. I didn't respond, but the phone rang again, and again. By the 4th ring, I picked up in frustration and slid my finger to answer. What do you want? Silence. Then a nervous breath. Alex. Her voice sounded more fragile than I remembered. Don't hang up, please. I clenched my jaw. My first instinct was to hang up, block her, move on with my life. But something in her tone stopped me. For the first time in years, Emily didn't sound smug. She didn't sound like the woman who thought she was untouchable. She sounded broken. We have nothing to talk about. Yes, we do. She exhaled in a whisper. We've had it all this time, but you never wanted to listen to me. I let out a dry chuckle. Listen to you? After you stole from me? After you lied to my face for years? I know. That simple phrase threw me off. You know? I repeated, frowning. Yes, and I'm sorry. Silence. I rested my elbow on the table, massaging the bridge of my nose. What was I supposed to do with that? Emily, I don't care. I'm in New York, in a horrible hostel in the Bronx. I closed my eyes. Not my problem. I know. Again that I know. But not in a mocking tone. Not in a manipulative tone. Not in the tone I had come to know. I just wanted to tell you that you were right. A chill crawled down my neck. Right about what? About everything. Silence. She took a deep breath. When you let me fall, I thought you'd cave, that you'd come back. I didn't say anything. But you didn't. The wind slammed against my balcony. And I realized I didn't know how to do anything without you. She ran her tongue across her tense lips. I discovered what it really means to be alone. Alex. Not having money. Not having real friends. Not having anywhere to go. I squeezed my eyes shut tightly. This was what I had always wanted, right? For her to understand. For her to pay for what she did. But then, why did my chest feel so heavy? I didn't call you to ask for money. I didn't call you to get me out of here. I swallowed hard. Then what for? To ask you if there's a chance you'll forgive me. A knot tightened in my throat. I don't know. Tell me when you know. And she hung up. Now, on the balcony, the message still glowed on the screen. Alex. Please, I need to talk to you. It's important. I closed my eyes. It had been a year since I got my life back. Since I stopped being my sister's puppet. And yet, tonight, sitting under the rain with a half-finished glass of wine, I realized that my story wasn't over. I didn't know what to do. Did Emily deserve a second chance? Or can some betrayals simply never be forgiven? I took a deep breath and slid my finger across the screen. I didn't reply, but I didn't delete the message either. I looked at the reflection of the city lights in my glass and asked myself the question I couldn't answer. What would you do?